Vandy 31, Texas 34. Is Texas actually getting better, or is that just wishful thinking from folks like me that see their views pop up every single time they say the magic words Arch Manning? I made a video on how the fourth quarter of their game last week versus Mississippi State saved their season. That's not just a YouTube title. The numbers say something's changed since that quarter in that game. Look at Texas's offense. Since the fourth quarter of that Mississippi State game, third down conversions nearly 60%. Pressure rate, which we've talked about a bunch about, hey, Arch Manning getting hit a bunch, offensive line struggling, why can't they get rhythm passing game? Well, since that fourth quarter, pressure rate, only 17%. This past weekend, that was a top 10 win versus Vandy. They have 3 games left with 2 opportunities to get signature wins against teams that'll probably be inside the top 15. With a win like that, a 9-3 Texas team is probably in the playoff. I've been saying it for months. We're on track to get a 9-3 team into the playoff, and right now, I think the SEC 9-3 is better than the Big Ten 9-3. And over there in the ACC, everyone keeps beating each other where they're probably on a path to only getting 1 in. But let's be real. Can this Texas team make the playoff is not the interesting question. The interesting question is, can this Texas team win in the playoff? And to answer that, we got to go to the tape. 2 quick little notes. So last week, I made a whole video on Texas and how I love Ryan Wingo. And you guys were in the comments being like, yo, if you love Ryan Wingo and we want to give him the ball more, he needs to catch the rock. Well, back-to-back weeks, and maybe they said this on the broadcast, and you're like, Max, you're a broken record. I hope they said this on the broadcast, because this is clear as day. Sark ran the same opening play back-to-back games. He ran it last week versus Mississippi State, and then the same exact thing this week versus Vandy. Little swoop motion, as we used to call it for when I played for Sark. And I saw Texas fans in the comments being like, Max, you need to do a better job of reminding us you played for Sark, because it gives your videos a whole different level of credibility. Sark's a changed man now, but a lot of the offensive stuff is exactly the same. It's going to be a swoop motion. Back-to-back weeks, they spit it out there, and Wingo is a violent runner. Vanderbilt's going to bring pressure with that linebacker, get him out on the edge. Wrapping up is optional. Play 1 for Vandy, and it's literally the exact same thing. Forgive me if they said that on the broadcast, but good on Sark. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. And then I've included in this before we get into some of the more scheme stuff. I'm talking 11 personnel. I'm talking Arch. But right here, I thought you guys would get a kick out of it. One of the biggest ass chewings I ever got in my playing career was on a random spring ball practice by Sark sitting right behind me, because we were doing Hail Mary drill. And it's like a drill or like a Hail Mary scenario, down whatever, only 30 seconds left, and you get in the Hail Mary scenario. And I, on Howard Jones Field, USC fans will know that, I threw the ball out of bounds over the end zone, and Sark absolutely ripped me a new one. Did I deserve it? I guess. Was I a redshirt freshman still struggling to catch up to the speed of college football? And was it probably the best coaching strategy to absolutely cuss my ass out in front of everyone? Probably not. But I bring this up because poor Arch did the exact same thing. Hail Mary, chucks it up, chucks it out of bounds. And I literally watched this and I was like, it's deja vu from I threw that, and right when the ball like sailed 5 yards over bounds, I was like, gosh dang it, Sark's gonna get on me. Because obviously as a quarterback, you know the deal. I was wired where I didn't need people to yell at me. I was my own worst critic. Arch might be the same way. But then the very next play, and new school Sark might not yell at players. In fact, like, I can't imagine Sark cussing out Arch, just because of a little bit of the vibe of Arch and just the whole Manning physique. And maybe he is coaching him hard, and Max, you're out of pocket with that comment. But he almost does it the exact same thing. There was a penalty, and then he's going to barely get in the end zone down here. And again, I'll get back to the breakdown shortly, but I thought you guys would find this interesting. But he almost does it 2 times in a row. And if you do it 2 times in a row, old school Sark would be coming right at you. So he got away with that one in the first half. Right here, though, moving on to the X's and O's, but more of the strategy side of things. So Texas utilized 11 personnel on 2/3 of their offensive snaps per True Media. Only the 3rd time all season the Longhorns have been in 11 more than 65% of the time. That's a big deal. 11 personnel, only 1 tight end on the field. And that stat is a total change in philosophy from 10 personnel, which is no tight ends, or 12 personnel, which is what Sark can do decent amount of the time. but it changes what you're getting to both in the pass game and the run game. And to give you a concrete example of what this looks like, and it's hard because I'm not in their meeting rooms and I don't know necessarily how a run concept changes or whatnot. But one thing that was blatantly obvious in this game is 4 or 5 times they're throwing bubble screens towards the tight end side. So when you're in 11 personnel, you can see in this formation, look how spread out the whole offense is. Obviously, they're in empty here, but the secondary and the defense, there's much more air. It's much more, it feels more like spread or air raid, whatever lane you want to go down. But the point that I'm bringing home is by this body being an 11 personnel tight end and you're splitting them out consistently, they have this tight end now blocking a corner. That's a mismatch right away. Very easy read. It's just a numbers game for Arch. He feels like he has leverage in the bottom of the screen with only the corner 1 and then the inside linebacker 2. Safety's high enough, spit it out there, and by having a tight end block the corner, you're not going to have 10-yard gains every time, but consistently make someone miss with your athleticism, and you're consistently there getting 6-yard gains. Versus if that is a receiver and you're not as strong at the point of attack, maybe you're not picking that up. Again, right here, tight end body, he's going to block this corner. You're in 11 personnel. You can feel how much more air and space is just in the field in general. You're not bunched up right here in the box. Again, bubble screen, spitting it out. You get a tight end blocking on a corner. Boom. Strong at the point of attack. 6-yard gain. Doesn't look like anything spectacular. It keeps your offense on schedule. And then just for good measure, they did this like 5 times, but just for good measure and to drive the point home. And make sure you guys know I'm not just stretching a point to make one. It's showing up on film. Tight end body here. You're going to block this corner. Thing to note, though, this linebacker, he's watching film. This plays in the second half. With Texas's receivers' athleticism, if you make this linebacker miss and you're strong at the point of attack tight end-wise, you can have a big gain. Now one went for 12. This was from Sark after the game. We shifted from, hey, let's try to slow things down. Let's play to our defense. They're the strength of our team. To now we need to be more in attack mode offensively. Part of me is kind of like, that's a little BS. Like, I know Sark. We all know how good of a play caller he is. You're telling me that he's been consciously trying to slow things down for his offense? I don't really think so. Like, that's just not how you're wired if you're Sark. And I've been watching the All-22. We've done a bunch of breakdowns for him. When you're watching the film, it doesn't look like you're trying to be conservative and slow things down. In fact, I've been complimentary of Sark being like, hey, even with Arch's struggles, he's still been giving Arch the keys to the car. And he hasn't been calling plays that are so simplistic to try to protect his quarterback that you're not giving him enough answers. No, he's been giving Sark, 1st and 10 downfield pass concepts. So I don't know how much I buy that, but that's what Sark's saying. And it worked today, obviously, in terms of being a little bit more in attack mode. And here is a good example of doing that. In terms of attack mode, I felt it watching the first drive of the third quarter. Texas marches all the way down the field, scores a touchdown, a lot of which were passing plays. Here's one right here. They're going to have double post by the outside-most receiver in the slot, and then they're dialing up this third receiver on a little corner route. I love this play. Sark used to call this not on 1st and 10, like we're saying, like we're seeing right here. He would call this when you had to have a chunk play in like 2-minute drill, which speaks to the attack mode mentality. If you're calling maybe a 2-minute mode beater in 1st and 10, either way, it's a great route. It's great timing by Arch. Look at how he gets this ball on time. And again, it's attack mode. You're pushing the ball down the field. This is still a ball game. You're being aggressive. You're trusting Arch to make a play. It's worth noting, and it was fun diving into this with my producer Jake. But Connor Robertson was their former backup center. He's now starting at center. Texas got their previous center, Cole Hutson, back from injury this week. Instead of plugging him in at center, they put him back at his old position, which was bumping him to guard. That now gives Texas upperclassmen all across the interior of their offensive line, both guard spots and at the center spot. And Sark credited that for being a change and having a big role in why Arch only got pressured on 6 of 34 dropbacks on Saturday. Night and day different from what we saw early on in the year. That's 17.6% pressure rate. And sorry, that 17.6% pressure rate was by far the season low for a unit that had Manning being pressured on 42% of dropbacks in the first 8 games of the season. Offensive line adjustments there, that helps. It also helps when Arch is processing and recognizing when the defense is blitzing and getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Here's a good example. It's that same drive. I believe it's that same drive. First drive in the third quarter. Arch is going to recognize pressure. Corner here, linebacker here. They're both going to pressure. Again, what do we got? 11 personnel, only one tight end on the field for Texas. They're going to dial up a little curl route. You always want to replace the blitz with the ball. Replace pressure with the throw. Whatever term you want to use, that's exactly what Arch does here. They're bringing 2 guys, corner and a backer. Replace it with the tight end on a little curl route. Get the completion. Move on. 1, 2, 3, ball. No one's on him. Excellent quarterback play right there. That's like a 16-yard gain. Another example of getting the ball out quickly. And again, when you're watching on your couch, you're like, oh, that's just a throw that a quarterback should make. Arch has not been making these throws consistently. They go a little stack concept here on the bottom of the screen, and they're going to go a deep out by the point man and then a little smaller out or shorter out by this back guy right here. You're lining up in this formation to get this look and give Arch a quick rip to the outside. But this is tight coverage. Arch is on the left hash here. He rips this accurately towards the sideline, on point, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, not allowing the rush to be a factor, helping out your offensive line. That's a great ball. Check that out. This is a great ball. These are the types of throws that should be easy, second nature for Arch from the pocket, but that is not easy. Wide side of the field, on time, pretty good coverage with a corner right on his hip there. And then if you package them both together, so I know I was critical of it, but of Sark saying we were much more in attack mode, and then the footage and the stats saying the offensive line's doing a great job protecting Arch, and Arch is doing a great job of getting the ball out of his hands. Well, it showed up on the touchdown throw that put the game on ice. This put the game away. It's all coming together on this play right here. You got Vanderbilt, they're going to blitz 6. They're going to blitz 7, but one guy's like spying kind of. So it's 6.5. They're blitzing 6.5. And then they got 4 DBs in coverage, or 3 DBs in 4 DBs. Yeah, I guess they're treating the running back as the fourth receiver. But anyways, I digress. You got go ball on the bottom of the screen. You got a little climb route over here. And then that's not true. There's a motion right here. They motion this guy down. He climbs out over here. Then you got a dig route on the top of the screen here. And then backer-wise, this backer's coming. This safety's coming. Boom. You got man coverage from this corner, and this corner, and it's a home run shot on the bottom of the screen. Excellent blitz pickup. They're bringing 7 or 6.5. Running back steps up, sticks his nose in there, and then look at how Arch gets this on time. It's a strike. It's a dime. Bottom of the screen. Touchdown. Good night, Vanderbilt. Your October run is not carrying over to November. So Texas win a playoff game. I got to see more. This is the right step. There's still some concerning things in there where Arch's footwork to me is still not sharp. It's still not where it needs to be. This game, they dictated tempo. They dictated terms. My question is, when it's not as pretty and it's not as clean cut for Texas, can Arch win you a game with his right arm in the fourth quarter versus a ranked team? That's where I'm still in wait and see mode. I do think they have the chops to sneak their way into a playoff. I'm not there to say that they can win a playoff game.